You're the creator of your own reality. You're vibrational beings. You live in a vibrational universe. Everything you think is vibrational. Law of attraction is managing the vibration. And when you think about what you want in its absence, you wobble. And wobble doesn't feel good. And the more specific you are in a wobbling posture, the more uncomfortable you will become. The more specific you become in a non-wobbling posture, the more exhilaration you will feel. So your negative emotion is just letting you know all day, every day, what you're doing wobble-wise and what you could clean up if you would try a little bit. But if you'd be smart about it and want to stop the wobble before it gets going too much. Now, this may be helpful to a lot of you because a lot of you have been working really hard to try to think positive thoughts. And sometimes you say, but it's more like my thoughts are thinking me. It's like my thoughts are thinking me. And we want you to realize that's never the case. But sometimes the momentum makes it seem that way. So the rule of thumb is to get as far into the good feeling thought as you can without wobbling. And in the moment that you start to wobble, back up from it just a little bit. Back up from it just a little bit. I'm going to give you a little demonstration of how creation happens. And we're going to tell it to you in a sequence of conversation that will open within you an awareness that will make what we're going to say next and all the rest of this morning together, it will make it make sense to you in a way that perhaps it never has before. You understand the concept of momentum. We like the analogy of the car at the top of the hill. Take the brake off, take it out of gear, and you decide you'll just nudge it to see what momentum's really like. So you nudge your car, and it begins to move over the crest of the hill, and then you realize you don't need this demonstration. You know from life experience what momentum in this case will be. And so you come to your senses right away because you like your car. And you step out in front of it and you let it bump up against you, and the momentum stops because you caught it early. You wouldn't want to be at the bottom of that hill attempting to stop that momentum. So when we notice, or you notice, that you've got a belief going that doesn't serve you, and we say to you, it's simply a momentum of thought that isn't serving you, part of you wants to argue about it because you believe it because it has been happening. It's a reality that you've observed, and so therefore it seems like it should be believable. But we want you to understand that even if you decide that it is a belief that you don't want to keep active, you can't just stop believing that all of a sudden because there's too much momentum about thoughts. Life is still delivering to you remnants and pieces of it to sort of, not with the purpose of keeping it alive, it's just the consequence. In the same way that there's no evil force trying to drag your car down the hill into a big crash at the end. It's just a natural consequence of momentum. So when you realize, or this is what we want you to realize, is that there is a point, an earlier point, where the momentum is easier to stop or easier to slow. There is a point in every conversation on every subject where it's easy for you to begin the momentum in the direction of what you want. And that's that emotional place. That's that emotional center. That's that unconditional place. Hear these words and try to feel the resonance with them just a little bit. So, all right, you got that, didn't you? Everything about that makes perfect sense. There's nothing within you that argues with any of that. It makes perfect sense. So now let's introduce law of attraction to the equation, because law of attraction, which says that which is likened to itself is drawn, is of course the reason for momentum. Because when you think a thought for as little as 17 seconds, law of attraction delivers another thought to you that is like it, and now there is more momentum with the joining of the two thoughts. And in another 17 seconds, more momentum, and another more momentum. Cross the 68-second mark, and you've got momentum going. That's the point where you should have kind of wanted to get out in front of it before it bumped against you, because now, when you get out in front of it, it might knock you down just a little bit. Momentum. So let's say that you are like a normal human, and you're thinking about your day, you're thinking about your life, you're thinking about your world, you're thinking about the personal things and the not so personal things. You're thinking a lot of thoughts. You're engaged with life. And some of the thoughts you think serve you really well, some of the thoughts you think don't serve you so well, but you're just thinking thoughts because there's thoughts to be thunk, right? So here is this thought about something that you want, and you're thinking about this thought of something that you want, and it starts in a gentle place. Let's say that you started early enough in the day that it was easy to get it going in that direction, so you're thinking about what you want on this subject. It might be a lover, it might be financial remuneration, it might be purchasing business real estate, it could be any number of things. So you're focused upon this desire, and so far so good. You're thinking about it, and it feels good to you to think about it. It feels fresh, feels exciting. The idea of it really feels good to you. So you're thinking that thought, and then because you've got a belief that contradicts it, that's in the vibrational vicinity of that subject, you think, but I cannot really afford that. So now you've got this thought of what you want and this contradictory thought about it. And so you're not ever thinking two thoughts at the same time, but you're thinking them in close enough proximity to each other. I want it, but, I want it, but, I want it, but, that you've got a little vibrational wobble going here. You want it, but, so there's a little wobble going here. If you will step back right now and soothe that wobble, law of attraction is going to help you take that thought of desire to another place. But if you don't, the wobble's going to keep you from moving purely forward with that thought. So it goes like this. Let's say you don't catch it because it didn't feel very big. It wasn't gut-wrenching. You didn't really even notice it. You're not that in touch with your emotions. You're not that pure about your non-wobble thought yet. And so you think about how you want it, but. And then you think about how you've wanted it for a while, but. And then you think about how you hardly know anybody that's got that. And so now your thoughts are continuing. Law of attraction is causing each part of this thought to be greater. Are you getting the sense of this? But the wobble's getting greater too. So now, pretty soon, you want it, but now you're talking to your friend about it. Oh man, I've wanted this thing that I can't have for so long. Yeah, me too, your friend says. I can't even remember the last time I had anything like that. You know, I know somebody that's got it, but you don't even want to know that guy. That guy is so egotistical, centered. That guy is so hard to talk to, doesn't want to talk to things that negate what he wants. So you've got this big time wobble going on now. With us so far? So here's how it is. I'm going to give this to you quickly because we know that you've been listening to us for a while. You know this, but it's a good basis to get active within you before we begin here. You are not just the you that you know in your physical body. There is a larger part of you who is non-physical. Humans often refer to this part as your soul, your God force. We call it your inner being, but it's that source energy part of you who is eternal. That source energy part of you who existed before you came into this physical body. But the important thing that many humans do not realize is that not only does that non-physical part of you exist before you came into this physical body, it still exists while you are here in this physical body. And there is a relationship between you in the physical, flesh, blood, and bone, and that non-physical part of you all day, every day. And when you recognize that there is this relationship and that your emotions are your key to understanding what relationship you have with that non-physical part of you in any moment in time, now you've got conscious awareness of your active guidance system, and now you have the probability of really living happily ever after, of doing what you came to do, and so much that you are picking up along your physical trail as new desires. So that non-physical part of you is the source within you. Some want to call that God. We want to call it the non-physical, eternal, continuous part of you. And we also want you to realize that right here and now, while you are focused in any conversation that you're having, that non-physical part of you is flowing to you and through you. And you can tell how good the sync up is. So, for example, when you are holding someone as your object of attention and you are appreciating them, you are loving them, you're just feeling the wholeness of who you are as you are focused upon them. There's no contradiction between your focus in this moment and the focus of Source, who is always focusing with you and through you. And so the resulting emotion is that resonant feeling of well-being, that resonant feeling of love. Esther was looking at her grandson Luke the other day. She just could not explain the alignment with source that she was having at the same time as she was focused on this kid. There are not words to describe, and it would be good if you didn't try so hard to find so many, to describe what true resonance with source is. And when you're focused upon something that you don't like, well, then that resonance is clouded, and resistance is what you feel, and that's what negative emotion is every single time. So we'll talk more about that as we're moving forward here today. But it is our desire to assist you in, first and foremost, understanding the magnificence of who you are. So we can feel you're with us so far. Now I want to introduce into this conversation another subject that you as humans have been talking about for a long time. And that's the subject of unconditional love. But you have been misunderstanding completely, almost to a person, what that even means. Because what most of you think unconditional love means is, you see that jerk doing something ridiculously awful and you say, I love him. Because by the time he feels like a jerk to you, you're wobbling and you are not in a place of unconditional love. It's gone too far before you caught yourself in the middle of it, you see. So what unconditional love is holding vibrational alignment with who you are, no matter what the conditions are around you. It's a steady footing no matter what. Someone said to us the other day, Abraham, how do you get rid of doubt? And we say, we love you so much and you're not going to like us very much after this answer. But the way you get rid of doubt is before it starts. Because if you wait until you're wobbling that much about something, now you just can't turn around on a dime like that. It's not likely that you're going to change the thought. You have to start at an earlier place. So that's why we wanted to demonstrate for you this wobble as it gets out there further and further with more details, more distance between what you really want and who you really are and what you're believing in this moment. Big time wobble in your vibration. So unconditional love, you can understand this, you'll get it easily if you just think about the emotion rather than the details that are causing it. If you just think about how you want to feel rather than the conditions that cause the way that you feel. Just go there in your mind for a moment. Just think about what it feels like to feel love. Without the conditions, without all the conditions that led up to you loving someone, with no feeling of needing to hold the outcome, which right now you don't feel like you can. If you're not trying to control the outcome and you're not trying to justify why you're here, if you're just here, can you feel how you could, if you would try just a little bit, you could find an emotion? We have enjoyed this interaction more than any words that Esther could ever find could convey to you. And while we stand in a place of knowing about what this conversation today means to you and will mean to you in terms of what's unfolding next, our favorite part about this conversation is that again and again you came away from resistance and toward alignment all day long. The thing about vibrational shift and emotional alignment is that the evidence that you think you want is a day or two out. The evidence that we want you to want is what took place already, in that feeling of clarity, in that feeling of more eagerness. These are emotions that are manifestations, that are the first indications of the releasing of resistance. And we want you to know that with the hundreds of you that are here in this room, and the more than that around the world today who are listening in, we have never felt more energetic vibrational shift.